This is a trend we're seeing. We talked about it at the beginning of the podcast, and people are moving in from out of the area in other states. And this is a question that somebody asked me, and I asked them if it was okay to put it in writing for our podcast, but they want to be in the business-friendly part of Austin. In other words, they're moving out of the Northeast. They live in Pennsylvania, is where this right outside Philadelphia, and they're really concerned about how anti-business it is and how pro-government. You could hear the same thing from people in parts of California, because of the trends there. And I thought it was an interesting question. It's like, what area or areas in the Austin metro do you suggest they look at? And his overall thing was, I'm going to be self-employed. I'm going to restart my business there because I can do it anywhere. And I'd like to be in a nice, as I understand Austin to be somewhat liberal market, but I'd like to be in parts of it that are, my peers and neighbors are going to be other entrepreneurs and other pro-business. And I don't wonder what your take is on it, because it's an interesting question to answer, because I think you need to know more. But I think we're going to have to deal with this because it's going to come up more and more, don't you?
Yeah. So the question is, what kind of business is he doing? On the live working, he says, does he need a place to meet people day to day, and does he need to put a sign out on the front? And there's a lot of restrictions in the Northeast from that. There's also a lot more property that supports that type of behavior in the Northeast as well. But I think in general we're pro-business, right?
Yeah, I mean, the overall market is certainly highly pro-business. Now, he's got a family, so he's looking at suburban areas. So my suggestion for him was, you're going to probably want to, in your first trip, look at the Southwest Austin Dripping Springs corridor. In other words, south to Southwest Austin Dripping Springs corridor, and then look at comparing it, because he doesn't want to be too far from the entertainment and activities and recreation that's available in downtown, although he doesn't want to live in an urban area because he's fairly urban now in Philadelphia.
Right.
So I also suggested that he take a look at the Cedar Park through Round Rock corridor, the Leander Cedar Park corridor there, because he does want a little bit of, and this is where you'll the data that's not in the question. In his case, I asked him, well, what's your ideal house look like? He said, ½ acre to 2 acres.
Mm-hmm.
I want a little bit of land. I want to be in a decent area that's not too far away from things, and so that keeps him away from some of the, if you want to categorize them, most liberal parts of the Austin metro. And there's nothing wrong with them. It's just, for what he wants, like many people want, that's why you see that Williamson County corridor absolutely booming, because there's a lot of people like John that say, I want to be in a corridor where it is suburban, and we do have lots of homes in communities. And that's a different buyer than what you hear from that might be a young engineer that wants to be able to walk downstairs and get to a coffee shop.
Absolutely.
And neither one is better than the other. And I bring this up because we are going to have to be better at, as professionals in this market, assessing and answering these type of questions, because we're dealing with more and more people who don't know anything about Austin.
Right.
Other than they know it's on everybody's list. It sounds really cool. The state is considered pro-business. Austin's considered pro-business. And then it's, I'm planning on being there in January or February. Where should I look? Go. And so I think we'll actually be spending a little bit of time talking about more of the lifestyle issues over the next 6 months on this podcast, because I think a lot of our listeners are going to be interested in understanding lifestyle choices. You talked about walkability downtown. If I've got 3 kids and I'm looking for suburban areas, I'm not going to be buying in the close-in central corridor downtown. I'm more likely going to be looking in that corridor that I described, south or southwest Austin or the Williamson County corridor. Depends on my price point, depends on how close I want to be to work and where I'm working, but we need to talk a little bit about the demographics of who's buying in which areas, right? And it's not universal, but on average, there's a difference between your high-rise buyers buying condos downtown than there would be somebody that's buying in Steiner Ranch.
Absolutely. They may have totally different needs.
So I think we'll have some fun. We'll have some fun with this. We're going to get questions like this. We are at episode 21. We've got a couple more episodes for the year. time flies. I remember when we kicked this off earlier this year, and we were trying to figure out what we'd be talking about 20, 30 episodes into it. We're not running out of any topics, are we?
No, it's not. This market's keeping us busy, too.
Absolutely. So next week, no promises. We could be talking fiscal cliff because maybe they got a deal done. Or if not, we'll be talking about it for sure the week after, whether they got a deal done or not, because it's going to be crunch time right before we get to the Christmas holiday.
It's crunch time for sure.
Good. Well, Perry, I appreciate your time, and we'll be with you again next week. And you have a good week, and don't knock yourself out too much with being busy. I'm getting ready to run hard today and for the rest of this week.
Thank you, sir. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks.